been a tough year for a lot of people. It's been a tough couple of years, I guess, if we're going to throw it out in just the bigger context of things. It's been a rather unprecedented time, but yeah, because we've all gone through it at different levels. We've all been affected by it at different levels. And then, of course, there's also different things that happen. So your suffering may vary, but how do you get through it? Well, you just kind of take on the burden that you can and try to come out better on the other side of it. So here's another helpful checklist in order to add to your repertoire of making your life a little bit more palatable. So this is from the perspective of the author Annie Holmquist. When a friend challenged me to a reading contest on Goodreads a couple of years ago, I was reluctant. Did I really want my reading selections broadcast on the internet for friends and strangers to see? Despite this qualm, well, who are you to begin with? It really doesn't matter. Despite this qualm, my arm was twisted and I began recording the books I read, often giving them a star rating based on how much I liked the book. Wow, very traumatic situation you found yourself in. Let me be clear. I'm rather stingy with 5-star ratings, as you should be, okay? Those should only be the books that are just mind-blowing. Like my little budding library that I have off to my right. Okay, camera left, I suppose that is. Whatever. There's probably like, I don't know, 5 or 6 books that are really just 100% all-time classics. The rest of them, your mileage may vary, but it's rather eclectic mix, and like I said, only very few have stuck with me through multiple readings, so you should have a discerning taste. Suffering may seem like a gloom and doom topic. Everybody has to deal with it, okay? And if you found yourself caught off guard by a certain stretch of bad luck, it might hit you harder than you anticipate, and then you might be crippled by it, and you don't need to find yourself in that situation. Yet during the holiday season, when many of us struggle with suffering, I love Christmas. It's my favorite time of year. Why do you think I go to such extravagant lengths to decorate like a crazy degenerate? Whether it comes through the need that comes with the loss of a job or the loneliness, that results from broken relationships or death. Be happy alone. I love being alone. I wish I was alone more often. Or the sadness of hurts and the memories of past seasonal gatherings. Oh, that all sounds terrible. That rear their ugly head. And how we deal with suffering in our own lives is what makes or breaks us as individuals. Take for just a moment to peer on my bookshelf of 5-star favorites like I did. I will just list a few right here. Can't Hurt Me, David Goggins, autobiography. Extreme Ownership, Jocko Willnick's masterclass. Both Jordan Peterson's books. But probably 12 Rules for Life, An Antidote to Chaos, more so than Beyond Order. It's good, but it's probably, it's the 1A to the number 1 that is the original. But I might have to read it again to just go over it. Far fewer biblical references in the sequel, but that's not good, that's not bad, that's just my commentary on it. I'd still recommend it wholeheartedly. Here we see the suffering of Jane Eyre, in which Charlotte Bronte's title character. All of those names sound familiar, but that just sounds terrible. Because she believes it's necessary to remain true to her principles, next to it stands Lee Strobel's The Case for Christ, which reveals the historical and academic evidence of the physical and mental sufferings of one who gave birth to the largest religion in the world, Pandemia. Was recently added to the 5-star shelf in his latest books from former New York Times reporter Alex Berenson. We see more clearly the sufferings of the COVID pandemic and have been inflicted upon us all in the past through the dictates of our leaders and bureaucrats. Okay, nice. And finally, A Path Through Suffering and Path of Loneliness. This is a really uplifting lady. Both by a late author and speaker, Elizabeth Elliot demonstrates ways to overcome hurt and pain. Last author who particularly amazed me this year, Elliot, a well-educated linguist and the wife of Jim Elliot, who was martyred in the 50s along with 4 other missionaries by her tribe of natives, where they were trying to minister to the jungles of South America. Their story reached mainstream America via Eliot's biography of the men and continued through Life magazine's photo essay on Eliot's later life working among the very tribe who murdered her husband. Many works of Eliot wrote on suffering emerged not only from this tragedy, but through other losses, such as death of her second husband from cancer. Wow, that lady is literally a monkey's paw. I want a wife, but then you end up dead a few years later. To stop our frantic getting, spending, and searching, she says, in the path of loneliness, and simply to look at the things God has made to move one step away from the despair, for God cares. Pretty good advice. If anyone has caused for bitterness over loss and pain she endured, it was Eliot, and yet she tells us that it's possible to both accept and endure loneliness, and by extension all forms of suffering. How do we do so? Eliot gives us the answer. Circumstances for which there is no final answer in the world. We have two choices: accept them as God's wise and loving choice of our blessings, called faith, or resent them as proof of his indifference, carelessness, and even non-existence. This is unbelief. Eliot obviously chose the first option, explaining that she accepts her suffering as a gift from God, and then gives it back to him for an offering in return. And that's a foreign concept of to our society today, but only because we are encouraged to play the victim, even when receiving the smallest hurts and offenses, a fairly based opinion. But because many Americans regularly relegate God to the corner of their lives, or not at all. What if we tried Eliot's approach to suffering instead of continually bemoaning the troubles, both public and personal? What if we accepted them as a gift from God, a gift that, although painful at the time, could turn into a beautiful character and other benefits down the road? Yeah, you can also just kind of, if the whole concept of God just rubs you the wrong way, and I don't see the need for organized religion in my life, I just kind of live along those tenets without having to go to the weird priests and church leaders that are out there that are just little would-be prophets if given the following. Always leery of people who need to amass a giant following. It's a Tony Robbins saying, okay? Maybe she should read some of that. Life isn't about what happens to you, okay? It's not about the summation of things. I'm just paraphrasing on this. It's not about the summation of things that happen to you. It's about what happens for you, okay? You approach every situation with the mindset that this happens for me. It's a learning experience. It's a growth opportunity, okay? Because things are going to suck. A lot of things are going to suck a lot. And you can curl up into a ball. You can take it all as a slight, and you're just going to realize that a lot of people around you have also dealt with loss. They've also dealt with suffering, and they continue to carry on, okay? The most successful people in society, it's not like they haven't had to deal with their fair share of loss or failures. It was just all about how they rebounded from those situations and how they took those opportunities as a moment of growth and renewal instead of just languishing in the suffering and the pain at the time. Because remember, pain heals. If I can just go ahead and make another, maybe just a little bit of a tangential reference. Pain heals, chicks dig scars, but glory lasts forever. If you get that reference, you're a good person. So yeah, suffering sucks, but it's not going to last forever. And you're going to realize that at the end of the day, you're going to be left standing. So use it as a growth opportunity. With that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.